G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and thanks for joining me again for another adventure out here under the stars. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how you can get unique images at iconic spots. Let's get stuck into it. So welcome to Catherine Hill Bay. Just down the road from Sydney, this place is an absolute mecca at the start of the season for people to come here and get the rising Milky Way core behind this jetty here. So the problem with iconic places to go and shoot Milky Way is everyone gets the same image. Now it doesn't matter wherever you are around the world, there's always those iconic places that everyone gets the same shot. Now here when the Milky Way core is rising in that eastern sky, everyone gets the same cut and copy image. This jetty behind me as a lead-in line up to the rising Milky Way core in that southeast sky. And as beautiful as that is, it'd be nice to get an original image. So what I'm going to do is show you guys how you can get unique images when you come to places that are as iconic as what this old jetty is here. So the easiest way to get a unique image in an iconic place is simply shoot a different part of the sky. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here tonight. Now, I've got this place all to myself, and that's very, very strange for this location. Normally this is absolutely crawling with people getting images. And the reason why I've got this place all to myself, there's no Milky Way core. And when the Milky Way core goes away, it means Orion's in the sky. So that's what we're going to do here tonight, is get a beautiful image of Orion rising in that eastern sky. So we're going to have a few challenges here tonight that I'm going to have to deal with that I don't normally have to deal with, and you can probably see one of them's the wind, and that wind is chopping up the surf and creating a fair bit of sea mist or sea spray. So the scene's going to be not the best tonight. And for you guys who comment and say, why am I wearing flip-flops out in the outback and whatever, well, I finally found the perfect place to be wearing my flip-flops or thongs or whatever you want to call them. I'm on the beach. Unreal. So some of the other challenges we're going to have tonight are light pollution. Now this is actually a pretty light polluted area. We've got some pretty big towns around here, and also out to sea, the boats just going back and forth. Just down the coast is the world's largest exporter for coal, and it just means that 24/7 boats go up and down this coast with all their lights going. So we're just going to have to deal with that the best that we can. But I think it's time to have a bit of a look around and try and get a composition sorted for Orion. So I think I've got the composition sorted. The pylons for this old jetty and the actual jetty itself overhead are actually going to frame Orion perfectly when it rises in that eastern sky, and it should look really, really cool and super unique for this location. But we've got a bit of time to kill before Orion rises, so what I think I'm going to do is get in here now and shoot the foreground while the tide's low, which is another thing that I don't have to worry about normally, but tides are a thing. So while the tide's down, I'm going to shoot the foreground from this location, and then I'll probably move my tripod somewhere a bit safer out of the water to shoot the sky from. So let's get stuck in and get this foreground done. So that's the foreground all taken care of. I ended up with settings of 2 minutes, f2.8 and ISO 640. Now what's really, really unique about those settings is, with those settings, the sky where the light pollution is clipped, and underneath this jetty is clipped as well. So what I've actually done is taken a bunch of images to stack so that I can protect the highlights in that sky, and I can also bring up the shadows in the foreground in post-production to try and balance out the really high dynamic range of this scene, which is something I'm not used to be honest with you. I've been spoiled for so long with Bortle 1, Bortle 2 skies, and having to deal with super high dynamic range with light pollution is just, it's something I'm not used to. So hats off to you guys wherever you are around the world dealing with incredible amounts of light pollution, I now understand a bit better what you're dealing with. So yeah, it's been a challenge and we'll just have to see how we go with it. Now, what I think I'm going to do is actually shoot a second composition here. Another thing that's going to line up in this location is the Gum Nebula, and I can't believe I didn't think about that before. And you know, the Gum Nebula is an absolutely giant hydrogen alpha emission nebula, it's huge, and it should line up really, really nicely in this location. So I don't have much time to get another composition sorted. As you can see behind me, Orion is starting to rise and get into its final position that worked with this composition for the foreground. So I'm going to rip in and get a second foreground with a different composition for the Gum Nebula, and then rip over and start tracking this sky. So I've made my way up here under higher ground to shoot this sky, and it actually sets up really, really well to shoot the sky from up here, sort of overlooking that jetty. Got a clear perspective of the sky out to sea, so that sets up really, really well. Now I had to sort of rush up here because Orion was rising so fast. It was getting in the perfect position for the composition that I shot, so I didn't actually get to shoot a second foreground composition for the Gum Nebula, so I guess that just gives me a reason to come back here another time. But I just ripped off a couple of test shots, and it's very, very interesting to see what the images look like. And what I'm seeing is not a great deal of detail and heaps and heaps of light pollution. So it's probably very, very similar to what a lot of you guys deal with all the time on a daily basis. So I can definitely relate to what some of you guys go through. So I'm actually just going to stack a bunch of images together, maybe 15 or 20 images together. I'm going to push the exposure as far as I can to the right without clipping any of the highlights in the sky, and then just rely on software to try and remove all that light pollution later and just see what I come up with. And I'm definitely going to shoot hydrogen alpha narrowband to try and get all that beautiful nebulosity in the sky as well. So that's the plan for the sky. I'm going to be shooting it with the Sigma Art 24 1.4 and my Sony A7r2, which is hydrogen alpha modified. And the tracking tonight will be on old trusty, the Skywatcher Star Adventurer. So I'll probably do maybe 2-minute exposure, something like that. But let's rip in and get a sky done. So that's all the images in the bag, and while I was shooting the sky, we actually had a bit of high cloud blow through, so we actually should get a little bit of glow off those brighter stars and get a bit of halo, which actually can look pretty nice. Now, I'm not expecting any sort of great detail out of this image with the light pollution, the high cloud, and all the haze that's coming off the beach, but regardless of the final image, I hope this video has given you some motivation to go out there, even to those iconic spots, with a fresh set of eyes and just come up with compositions that are unique, because a lot of the iconic spots we go to shoot the Milky Way actually line up with other parts of the night sky at different times of the year. So hope that's given you a bit of motivation to get out there and shoot some new images. I hope you guys enjoy the image, and until next time, cheers guys.